Hello and welcome to Free Range Cottage, Episode 1. I'm Rob.
And I'm Tanya.
And this is our YouTube podcast about all things home.
Hey friends, so today we're talking about our first remodel we did on our home. It's a little different than our normal videos. Normally we're showing you what we're doing around our current home, but we thought it would be fun to kind of do it podcast style and talk about some of the things, the DIYs, the home decor, some of our successes and maybe even failures in our renovating. And it's something that I know a lot of fixer-upper DIY friends are going through, so we thought it would be fun. So our first house we bought, how long ago was it, Rob? It's been
in the 90s.
It's been a long time.
Early 90s.
So let's just say decades ago. But we had a two-family rental, but this was our first family home that we bought, and we actually have a picture on the podcast here of the front of it, and it was, you can see it was a little bungalow. And what year was it from?
I think it was built in 1952.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was an old house. But when we were looking around, our budget, of course, back then was really, really tight, and we had young kids, and just looking everywhere and everything in that housing market we were in, it was sort of a seller's market back then. And everything we were looking at was just scary, just like even had structural issues. I remember I saw a beautiful historic home, but you went in the basement and had jacks holding up the floor, and
Yes.
you absolutely refused to even consider it, even though I loved all the character and everything, and it was really neat. But anyway, so we saw this house, and it had good bones, like they say. There were no crooked walls or crazy kitchens or anything like that. So we went ahead and got this house, and naively, I guess, we had some DIY skills, but we had mostly lived in rentals. For the time that we were together, we had lived in rentals and just done, minor things together. But you had done some different DIY things. You had worked with a friend that did plumbing, and so you had some skills that you brought to the table, right?
Yeah, well, my dad had some rental homes, and so he would ask me to come help him. And this one guy kind of taught me how to do this and that. And
so you had done like a little bit of drywall, you had done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And my mom, growing up, my mom was an interior designer, so I had learned a few things, although I was not that interested in it when I was younger, to be honest, when I was a kid. But I guess just through osmosis, a lot of her ideas and stuff had rubbed off on me. So that's what we began with in our first fixer-upper. And we closed on the house and moved in and moved our little family in. We had two small kids at the time. And the house was only, I think it was 1,100 square feet, right?
Yeah, that was including the upstairs.
And the upstairs was a converted attic. And so there were only 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom on the first floor and a tiny, tiny kitchen. And so we had a boy and a girl, and we wanted them to have their own bedrooms. And so you went up these creaky stairs, and there was a so-called finished attic space. It was a large room, a really neat room, but when we went up there, the plaster, it was all plaster walls everywhere in the house.
Okay.
And the plaster had hairline cracks everywhere, just like crumbling. I mean, you could crumble it off with your fingers. So.
Right, I started to peel the plaster off, and that skim coat just fell off for like 30 feet and 12 feet wide, and
so that was
almost cried.
Yeah, so that was kind of a shocker. So we had to deal with that. And what did you end up doing with that?
I just got buckets of mud and went up there and just started going at it for like 2 days.
Yeah, I remember we had a couple of friends that came over and helped sand, thankfully.
Yeah, they did.
And I mean, it was a real mess. up there, but they got it done, and we put a coat of paint, and it ended up being beautiful. We laid new carpet and everything, and it was a really nice master bedroom up there. And then the kitchen was the original 50s kitchen.
Had all the
And
metal cabinets.
yeah, not in a cute retro like you'd want to keep way. I mean, it was partly countertop here and then some, janky shelf to the wall and weird wiring and
wires
stuff
hanging
hanging
everywhere.
out and stuff. Yeah. So we pretty much gutted that little tiny kitchen right when we moved in. And we set up we had like a microwave and just a couple of things in the dining room. But then we had this screen porch off the front of the house, and it was cold out. So we were keeping some of our food out there, and I can't remember if it was before Thanksgiving, sometime around then, but we were keeping some of our food out there because it would keep it cold. And so every day after work, Rob would be working on this kitchen so we could get a functioning kitchen. And I just remember the one day, the thing that sticks out to me is the one day you came in and there was some stuffing, like the bread stuffing, like you'd put in a turkey or whatever, and it was in a container with a cover, like a foil wrap over it, and he threw it in the microwave. He was starving, he hadn't eaten all day long, threw it in the microwave and ate it right in front of me while he was talking. And what happened?
Mouse turds.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was horrific.
He looked down and it was like a horror movie. There were mouse turds in the container. So he ran to the bathroom.
I tried to throw up, but I couldn't because apparently my stomach was so empty beforehand that it was like, I'm not giving this up.
He couldn't
So
get himself
gross.
to throw up. So we're like, oh no. So that was part of the adventures of the beginning of our crazy DIYing days. But it was quite a journey, and we worked on that house for about, I want to say it was about 3 years before we got to a point where we felt like we could relax. And the outside, it didn't have that siding that you see on there now. It needed new siding, it needed windows, but we were DIYing everything and doing everything on a really, really tight budget. So it was it got to be really, really cute, and it was just a little bungalow. So we really liked it. It was our little cottage.
Did we live there for like 6 years?
We lived there 6
years.
years. And so what would you say your top thing you learned in DIY in that first house that we renovated?
The one thing I learned is I should probably have not attempted to redo the wood floors by myself.
Yeah.
Because unless you really know what you're doing, I mean, it looked good from a distance, but if the sun came in and shined in on across the floor, you could see all of my flubs. All my goof
and
ups.
what happened is, of course, it had this nasty green carpet that had been there for, I'm sure, decades. And we pulled all that up, got rid of it, got the needle nose pliers and pulled out staples until our hands ached. I mean, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But felt like we were doing great, and went and rented this big sander that you use to sand down the floors. Right. They were actually in really good condition because they had that carpet, but we just wanted to do the sanding on it so that we could finish them off. And we rent that thing, and the next morning, or it was even that night, I got food poisoning. So I was no help. I literally, the next morning, he was so upset. He was like, oh no, because then he was on his own. It was supposed to be a 2-person job. And I was literally sitting on the floor in the living room watching him do it. And if I moved too much, I was probably going to barf. But he was just so upset. I felt bad. I couldn't.
No, why I didn't get someone else to help me.
I
look back at it and I go, all right,
It was just so last minute. And we're not people that are going to call and say, hey, come and help. We just always dived into it together. Like I was the other construction worker. I always laugh about it and say, I'm too old to be the other construction worker anymore. And it's funny because I said that to my oldest son and he said, oh, I never knew you were. And I'm like, yeah, you were out of it. You were a kid. You don't know how much I got my hands dirty and got in there and carried things and lifted things and sanded things and did everything. But anyway, so that was your
that was one of my things I wouldn't.
Your main DIY.
Even today, I won't do it because I know how tough it is. Now, one of my questions for you is, what did you learn design-wise about redoing since you've redone that house compared to now?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one. Like I said, I learned a lot from my mom with interior design and stuff, but you're always learning, and that's what's so fun about YouTube and blogs and everything, is because you can learn new things and be creative, and it's always changing and stuff. So of course my style has changed a lot, and like we talked about, we kind of function like I get an idea and be like, hey, and come to you and be like, hey, do you think we could build or rip down or whatever? But I think my main takeaway is to not be afraid to experiment more. Like we had that wall in the kitchen that I wanted to take down, and I still to this day wish that we would have gone ahead and got someone in there to give us an estimate, even though our budget was tight, to just make those changes, even if you can't spend the money on the decor type end of things. Go ahead and spend the money in the beginning on your basic layout and stuff. So walls and flooring and that kind of thing. So that's the one thing that I probably took away from that, is to go ahead and pull the trigger on those possibly layout issues.
Now, we were talking about this earlier, that if you're going to stay there for the long run, it would be nice to do that. But since we knew that we probably weren't going to stay there for the long run,
it depends
kept it the way it was.
Sure.
Because we did sell the house like in one day.
It depends. Right. It depends on what your thinking is on the house. If it's like, oh, this is our forever home and we can't see moving, then that's when you want to possibly invest in the bigger changes. But if it's just to get it to a nice looking home, and then probably sell it and move on. And we knew that was one of our, that was going to be our starter house. Let's put it that way. Even though I like it, and I probably could with those floor plan changes, since we had a full basement in that, with a few tweaks, I could probably live in a house that size again, because now our kids are grown and we just have our college age son at home. It was easy to clean, and it was pretty easy to take care of. So what would you say was your favorite thing in that house?
One of my favorite things was I have a couple of them. One, that it was just...
Oh, there's our little dog sleeping next to us if you hear her. She's always snoring.
It was small and cozy, and it had good bones. It was, it did need to be fixed up a little bit, but it had
a lot of character. It had cute character, and definitely had that bungalow style that is really appealing.
And the other thing was the outside had really good landscaping, especially in the back. Well, of course, we had to do a lot to it to make it the way we liked it, but we had the most beautiful garden. And just when you got in the yard.
Yeah, there were big mature dogwood trees. We had raspberry bushes that the kids loved, and there were some flowers, perennials that would come up, and we added a lot more. It was a very, very tiny city lot, but it just felt really good in that yard.
And in Michigan, the dirt was so...
Yeah, it was a lot easier to garden.
It's a lot easier.
There. And it also had a really pretty brick planter box right when you walked up to the side door. And that was just so nice and easy to make it pretty, right at your entrance. So I really liked that. So probably, I think you stole my favorite thing in that house was probably the character, and it had cove ceilings and just all that little cottage style. Mm-hmm. So what would you say? Like, basically, why aren't we there now? What was your least favorite thing there?
Because it was on. It's like when we bought the house, we bought it because it was in that certain town. But in order to get what we wanted to get, we had to buy the house on a busy street.
Yeah.
So my takeaway from that is I would never. It's okay if you live on a busy street, but I'm just saying for me and for Tanya and I think living on a busy street is something that we probably wouldn't do again.
Right.
Because of the noise. And like one morning I woke up and there was a woman who got in a car accident and was literally on the front lawn.
Yeah.
Like right in front of the house.
She wasn't hurt, but she was very, very shaken up, and I took her in the porch and the front and everything. So yeah, it was a little scary. We never did let our kids play up front. So it kind of makes the front yard not real usable. Like we didn't sit out there or do much out there.
You're right. And it's funny how you watch these shows on TV and they're like, oh, it's by a busy road, and the realtors says, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be in the house. You can't hear it. Well, if you spend any time out in the backyard, trust me, you can hear it.
Yeah. But I mean, it really didn't stop us from enjoying the house and stuff. But we're just such gardeny and outdoor people that we just want to use all of our space. Now, if you're a person that is not going to be outside too much, then it probably would matter a lot less. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so then we kind of outgrew it too, because we had our third kiddo in that house. And so we didn't really, he was in our room upstairs, and we knew that wasn't going to last and everything. And the opportunity came up for us to buy our second home, which we'll talk about next time, which was a lot bigger. So we had been in that house for about 6 years. And like I said, there were still some things to do, but we had, I think, made it pretty cute. And so we put it on the market. And then what happened, like you said before.
We sold it in one day.
We sold it in one day. And the buyer paid with cash. Even our realtor's head was spinning. He was just in shock. So, yeah, so we had to, luckily, we knew where we were going. So we went to that next house. And that was a really good DIY sort of renovating experience for us. And we actually really enjoyed it. And we did more renovations in our next house.
Right.
Although it wasn't as old of a house. It was kind of the Brady Bunch house.
It was built in the 70s.
Yeah, it was kind of the Brady Bunch house looking thing. So you'll see that next time.
Since this podcast is all about things home, what are your plans for today?
Well, we have been, as you know, really busy the last couple days and been out of the house a lot. So today is going to be cleaning, and also I have a bunch of houseplants that have spent the summer outside, and it's starting to be pretty cool at night. So I've really got to get them in. Some of them need to be repotted, so it's kind of a big job. If you've seen any of my videos, I have a lot of houseplants, and they have grown. So my collection has grown. So I need to get those for sure taken care of. But hey, thanks so much for listening today, and we can't wait for the next one, and we'll talk to you soon.